Welcome back, Leveling Up third graders. This is week 4. I'm Mrs. Berkeley, and our heroes is our emphasis this week. Our heroes this week are in this book. So it's all about football, baseball, right? No, what am I thinking? Our title is Firefighter by Gail Gibbons. So our heroes are, shout out with me, firefighters. You rock. That's awesome. Fantastic. So that's what we're going to be learning about this week. But first things first, we have to do our word work. So let me get prepared. Now, you know that I told you you can lay your cards horizontally, vertically, and scatter them any way you want. I'm going to go in this order today, but you choose your order as we're working. Now, remember that when we are working on our words, we're spelling our words aloud. And what we're looking for is AR this week. We have an AR, an AR, 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 and AR. And AR says R, R. That bossy R tells A what to say. So, our sound for the week is R. All right. And you can find every one of these words in our book. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get our big fire hose out. So you have to kind of put it to the side of you. Don't worry, there are 2 people behind you. You don't have to have complete control. So we're going to put out our letters, and then we'll sweep and put out our whole word. All right, here we go. Okay. A, L, A, R, M. Here we go, sweep it. Alarm. Nice job. All right, let's get that hose again. Here we go. Next word. B, A, R, N. Barn. Nice job. I need to hold mine a little bit better. All right, our next word. Here we go. C, H, A, R, G, E. Sweep. Charge. Very nice. Our next word has a prefix. And a prefix means that these 3 letters change the meaning of this word charge. And we'll talk about that later on this week. But here we go with discharge. Here we go. D, I, S, C, H, A, R, G, E. This is going to be a big sweep. Discharge. Very good job. All right, here's our last word. L, A, R, G, E, large. Nice job putting out those word fires. Great job. All right, we're going to move on to our book, which is, again, Firefighter by Gail Gibbons. Now, I'm not going to read it today. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to go to our YouTube page, and I would like you to listen to Mr. Ben read Firefighter by Gail Gibbons. He is a big, big fan of firefighters. So you go ahead and do that and come back to me. Awesome. So while you were listening to that story, I hope you were thinking 2 things. I hope you were thinking, what's the genre of that book? Was it fiction or was it nonfiction? You know what, so I'm not in my own way. I'm going to get out my handy dandy pointer. So Firefighter. Was that fiction or nonfiction? I'm going to let you look at what fiction means. I'm going to let you look at what nonfiction means. I'm going to give you just a minute to think. Was Firefighter fiction or nonfiction? Awesome. All right, so let's see what you're thinking. If you think that Firefighter is fiction, I want you to do high five, okay? But not yet though. And if you think it was nonfiction, I want you to do firefighter, 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 firefighter. Okay, so it's high five, firefighter. Ready? Get set. Go. Firefighter. I said nonfiction. Did you say nonfiction? I hope you did, because nonfiction means it's informational. We learned about firefighters. They were true facts. We can read them in any order we want to. It teaches us something about firefighting. And this is the only tricky part. And I don't like this graphic because it's saying that you have to have only photographs in nonfiction. That's not true. So we're going to change that, because this is our education and we can do what we want, right? We can learn the way we need to learn. So I'm going to add illustrations, because you can have illustrations in a nonfiction book. All right, check. We've got it. Next, text features. There were so many awesome text features in our book. We didn't have a table of contents. We didn't have photographs, but we had headings. We had diagrams. We didn't have any charts. We had labels in our diagrams. We had captions. We didn't have an index, but we did have a glossary in the back. Not a traditional glossary with definitions, but we'll talk about that later this week. All right, let's move on just a little bit. So again, everybody, so we don't forget nonfiction. So firefighter reminds us that it's a nonfiction book. Here we go. All right, let's move on. So those text features that I was talking to you about, here's a great big list of these things. We had headings, we had captions and labels. There were other things, but the navigation tool was headings. Headings told us that this book is broken into 4 parts. So there are 4 headings. And I'm going to show you one of the headings, the heading that we're going to talk about today. So in the city at the top of the page, that's our first heading. So this shows that it's the first part. And there are actually 4 parts. So this is the first of 4 parts. That's our heading. We'll also have captions and we have labels. Let me show you some labels. In our illustration, it says alarm room. It says, it tells you what they're saying. This is the caption. It says 12 West Street, 12 West Street, 12 West Street. So that's where our firefighters are going to go. Awesome. And we need these labels to tell us what's going on in the picture and to show us the names of items that we are not familiar with. And captions always tell us what's happening in our illustration or photograph. All right, you guys are doing wonderful. So let's go over captions one more time to make sure we understand. Our example on the board is this picture of Saturn. So if I don't know what that is, I'm just going to say, oh, that's a planet. But if I look at my caption tells me that Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun. Saturn has many rings of rock and ice that orbit the planet. So this caption tells me about this illustration. Just like this caption tells me what's going on in this page. There is the alarm. It's the alarm room, and they're calling out the alarm so that the firefighters can get ready. All right, let's check out our next. All right, illustrations and photographs. As I said, you can have illustrations and photographs in both nonfiction and fiction. And we have illustrations. The difference between an illustration and a photograph is an illustration is drawn or graphically made. So you could make a collage as your illustration. You could paint. You could use markers. It doesn't have to be drawn with a pencil. But a photograph is taken by a camera or some type of digital device. And it looks like it looks exactly like what your brain would call up if you were thinking of a hand. Your brain would think of this. Now, someone who just could draw would draw this to give you an idea of what they're thinking of. So this is a photograph, and this is an illustration. Fantastic. All right, let's move on. All right, a heading. Now this heading right here tells us that this passage is all about, everybody yell it out. If you said fish, you got it. All about fish. So everything in this passage is all about fish. And if we go back to our heading, the first part of our book is all about fire, fire in the city. All right. So that's what a heading is. These are very valuable. Headings help us to know which part of the book we're working in or what our information is about. All right, labels. I love labels. And this is a great safety label for us to learn. We have the fire triangle. We have oxygen, that's air in the air that we breathe. We don't just breathe oxygen, but that's one of the gases in the air we breathe. Heat and fuel. If you add all three of those, then we'll have a fire. Fire can be great. Fire can be bad. So you have to make sure that you're being safe. So oxygen and heat and fuel cause a chemical reaction, which is fire. So these labels help us understand this triangle and chemical reaction. Just like in our book, I'm going to go to another page that we have labels. And on this page, we have a label telling us that this is called the ladder tower truck. And this ladder, we can tell it has to do with something about towers because it's going all the way up to that 5th floor window. So it has to be pretty tall. So it's the ladder tower truck. All right, awesome. So labels are very important when we're reading. Pay attention to those labels. All right, so we're going to practice. We're going to practice. So you've got your book in front of you, and you're going to work with me. Oh, I have a question. How many parts are there for this nonfiction informational text? Remember, we've got to look for headings. So let's check it out. We know that the first heading says, in the city. In the city. All right. And our next heading says, in the country. All right. And then our next heading says, in the forest. And our last heading says, on the waterfront. So how many parts are there in this nonfiction informational text? Hold up your fingers. No. 29. No, that's not it. Oh, just kidding. 4 fingers. I'm so proud of you guys. All right, let's keep going. You guys are doing great. I love that you're learning about text features. It makes it so much easier when we are reading our books. Our next part of our day is cursive practice, and you'll be doing that with Miss Brandy. Enjoy. All right, take out your Think Stretch book. It's really important that you take that out right now. And we're going to find page 22. So let's look. It looks like this. It has week 4, our wonderful last week together. I'm so excited that we get to spend this week together. All right, so page 22. Here we go. It's across from this great picture of inventing a story. So here we are in week 4. All right, so week 4, You've been doing this all 3 weeks, so you're going to choose a book to listen to on YouTube from one of our amazing readers. You could even count Mr. Ben reading our book, Fire, Fire, this week. So go ahead and write your book. Once you're finished reading, write your book title and write your genre. Now, we have already read, during our time, we've read realistic fiction, we're reading nonfiction last week and nonfiction informational this week, and we had our very first story was the Fly Diary, and that would be called fantasy. So fantasy. So we've read 3 different genres. So remember, if you get stuck on this, you can call me or let me know, and I'll help you with the genres. But please take care of that. And 5 books this week. We're really excited about that. And that's our day 1 for week 4. Have a great day.